Well, welcome to Everything Newbie. I thought I'd talk a little bit about RVing. So, I decided a few years ago that I don't have much faith in the economy and the government that's running it. And it's nothing personal against anybody or any party. It's just during my lifetime I saw the collapse of the USSR, Russia, and several economies and microeconomies, and the more you get educated, the more you see this stuff. And so I decided, I'm a survivalist. I specialized in survival equipment in the Navy, and because of that I had to learn a lot of survival skills and become a survival instructor, but not one of those like hardcore ones that you see on other YouTube channels or with special forces, stuff like that. I kind of have a tendency to take a common sense approach to things. So I decided, hey, if the world goes to heck in a handbag, I want a mobile home, a place to live other than a backpack and a tent on my back. I'm getting older, I'm 49, and heck, it's hard to get out of the bed, let alone traipse with 50 pounds on my back, so I decided to buy an RV. So here's my bug out bag, just to show you that I am always prepared, and this is a good 50 pounds. As much as I don't want to traipse around 50 pounds, there's easily a week's worth of survival gear in there. Sorry, that was my neighbor pulling up. They love to honk their horn all the time. But so I thought I'd give you a tour of my RV. It's a 74 Dodge Apollo, and it was made during the space race. And so it has some features on it that are kind of cool. It's really filthy right now. But you see the back wheels there, the hubcaps are kind of generic, but they used to be in the shape of space saucers or UFOs. Right now I was doing a multimeter check on my batteries. They all check good. I just replaced them last season, and I've been having charging and troubles getting into an RV, which is a big problem. I had to do a double step there because I removed the step that covers the batteries. But I'd been having charging troubles while I was out and about and while I was driving. And I noticed when I turned off the master power switch, the engine couldn't keep running on its own power, which means not getting power from the alternator to the electronics which make the engine work. So here's the engine compartment. I have it torn down, the cover off, I should say, and the air filter off. And I found within like 20 seconds the wire that goes to the alternator that goes to my battery banks to charge my batteries. Now right now I have the generator going, and I have both air conditioning units going. There's one right here, and it's blowing nice and cool. It's 80 degrees outside, and it shows 75 in here with the door open. And in the living space in back, the other air conditioner, which actually blows colder for some reason, I think because it gets used less. When you're back here and you have the AC unit on, you can drop the temperature down to 50 degrees in the sleeping area. So here's my sleeping area. My rifle's over there, and my emergency oxygen right there. I'm a paramedic. And then I have a printer here, an air ionizer here, food stores here, another generator here, place where you brush your teeth, and this is my paramedic kit. I never go anywhere without that because somebody always needs it. Basically a messy medicine cabinet that you're going to learn, don't make anything too pretty because it's bouncing around. I mean, this printer right here is a brand new printer I bought because it's a Wi-Fi printer. It has built-in Wi-Fi, which means I can print from my phone, I can print from my iPad, and believe it or not, that's come in handy a few times on the road. Up here, more food stores, fire extinguisher. I had to end up putting the fire extinguisher in there because the hook couldn't hold it because it was bouncing around too much. Blankets. This is the power, the inside power box, and they put this tiny little closet here which I keep fishing supplies in, some chairs in, and our compound bows in. When we go out and about, we like to take compound bows because a lot of state parks have archery ranges, which is really cool because you pay the $7 to get in and the archery range is free. Beat that anywhere. It's my bathroom, and you see in there is a white thing. That's actually not quite an antique, but an old-timey washing machine that traveling salesman used to use. It has an agitator in there. You put a few gallons of water, some soap in there, you put your clothes in there, and it agitates them until you unplug it. Literally, there's not even an on-off switch on the thing. You just unplug it. Plug it in and unplug it. Plenty of room in the shower, plenty of room in the head. All we do is we keep toilet paper and baby wipes up here. You know, thing to vent, you know, pretty simple. The microwave that came with it was this dual microwave that had heating elements that would like really brown your food like an oven would. But it was kind of hinky. There was like literal heating elements in it that would get really hot, and I was like, I'm afraid I'm going to burn something down with it. So I'm filling it with water right now, and this is how you can tell it's full. So I'll shut off that spout, and now you're going to see water is going to continue to pour out of it for about 20 minutes because the water tank swells, and the angle that I'm on, it's not a big deal. That's how you tell it's full. It just spews water out the outside of it. In fact, I'm going to come around to the other side and look at the generator because the hot water tank, which is right here, it's propane, LP gas. And let me tell you, nothing better than hot water. So what I'm doing is I'm checking underneath for water because the hot water tank is right here. And there's valves that if you don't want it to freeze, you got to drain it. You open them up. And I believe last time I did this, I closed it. So I just want to make sure I'm not draining all my water out of that orifice. This has electrical steps on it, but since I'm so close to the sidewalk, I'm not using them. However, let's try not to trip going up this time. I'm just kidding. So when I bought this thing, the guy was like, don't turn on the water because I'm not going to be, in his middle of winter time, he's like, I'm not going to be responsible if you bust a pipe, you know, blah, 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 blah. You know, don't put water in it, don't put water in it. So that was kind of a, you know, red flag. So we got this thing for like $1,800, I think, which is a wheel of a deal. It's got a Dodge 454 8-cylinder. I feel some power loss from it, so, but there's no smoke or anything. So, you know, the hardest time we have is going up hills. It'll overheat, and I see that they have 2 transmission coolers on this thing, which means they're really serious about towing stuff with it. It does have a tow package on it. We added these little curtains so that at night, okay, it's got curtains that go around the front window, then I have double curtains I prefer. So that way, we like when we park, we can shove stuff up there, and I don't have to look at it. Like right now, you see the stuff I have on the sofa. You know, when this place was made, it was made to have 2 little tables right here. Not a table there. There's like a magazine rack there and a thing to hold 3 bottles of booze. I'm not a drinker, so I had no use for it. And it had 2 swivel chairs. So considering the time, the 70s was a time of entertaining. You know, you have friends over, you know, 3 or 4 people could sit on the sofa here. And then these chairs, these captain's chairs swivel around, so you could have 2 more there, and then you'd have 2 more here with the bar with a little mirror behind it. And so what I made is I you know, bought the hardware and I welded this, and I made this table exactly the right height, and I put on a big screen TV, and it's screwed down to the table, and the table is solid. And you see it's ugly. I just cut it down. It used to stick out to here. I cut it down a week ago. And then I bought a dorm refrigerator to put in here. Because, you know, of course, the refrigerator didn't want to work. Because if you don't know about RV refrigerators, just trust me on this. They're the number one reason RVs burn to the ground. Okay, so what we do with our fridge, which is still here, fridge and freezer, is we can put stuff up in the freezer. This is foam that I sprayed in here to seal it up. And we just store any old thing up in there to keep it quasi cool. And down here in the fridge, you see I got it full of water, And with these two bottom things, we fill with ice, and then there's a little tiny battery-powered fan right here that we use, and it circulates. And you can see where I put a steel plate up here and the insulation. And literally, we fill these things with ice with, I think $2 worth of ice. And it'll stay cool for like 3 or 4 days. Now we've bought an ice machine, an ice maker here from Costco for $100. It puts out about a drink's worth of ice every 15 minutes or so. So that's great. So anyway, we come home, fill it with water. It was a nice day outside. And the carpet right here is getting squishy. So I start accessing all these little areas. Sure enough, there's like 4 or 5 breaks in the water lines. Take it to Home Depot, park it in their parking lot, use my generator with power tools, and I replace all the lines with what's called PEX lines. They have quick connectors and they're plastic lines, so if it does freeze, it won't bust, hopefully. And then what I did is they sell it at Home Depot. It's a little thermistor that works on 120 power. And what it's made for is your garden hoses, okay? Or to turn on electric heaters and stuff. And it's set for 40 degrees. And so what I did is I went to the thrift store, bought a very small, compact hair dryer that I put on low, and I hooked to that. And there's a little extension cord coming out right there. So when it's parked, I have it plugged in. So if down below where all of the water pipes are at gets down to 40 degrees, it turns on this hair dryer on low and it warms up the space and then shuts off because the thermistor warms back up again, or the detector. So that's how I fixed that. So the second thing is I installed a security system where the microwave used to be. I was talking about the microwave and I heard the water overflowing out there. And so what I did is I went to Harbor Freight, and they sell this 8-channel system. And there you can see it, and there's my stepson and his friend talking, and there's the neighbors. And these cameras I have to clean. And it goes to this DVR that records. It's set on a 24-hour record. And depending upon where it's at, like all the cameras right now are set for where I had it parked in the side yard. And when I start traveling, I'll move all the cameras to be in the way that I like them to be. So word one about RVs is, when you're buying a used one, you're gonna get a lemon. I'm pretty sure of that. That's why people get rid of them. Number 2, there are great deals out there. I looked for about 6 months before I found the one that I wanted for the price that I wanted. The work that I needed to put into it, and it's always work. It's it's like owning a motorcycle. I do videos about motorcycles, and it's like, oh God, another breakdown again, So luckily this has never left us stranded. Holds 100 gallons of gas. I get about 6 miles per the gallon, which is horrific. It's one of those things that if you could get double the mileage, then you'd be just happy, instead of costing me $400 or $500 to get to California. It would cost $250, and that would be awesome. The trick to RVing is to find places to stay for free. Walmart parking lots, Cabela's parking lots, that kind of stuff. So that's it for this installment of RVs, and I'll make another video soon to tell you a little bit more.